Hello and welcome back to our masterclass on temperaments. Today we'll be talking about the sanguine temperament, and in particular, the sanguine and inclusion.
So let's start by looking at the second page of the report, which it breaks down the temperament into inclusion, control, and affection. This person that we're dealing with is a sanguine in all three areas. And you'll notice that the scores on this sheet are in relatively close relation. That means that the sanguine knows what they want and they also know how to express themselves. Now, if you were with us yesterday when we talked about the melancholy, we noticed that the bars were very low. The sanguine is at the opposite end of the spectrum than the melancholy. So where the melancholy is really an introvert, the sanguine is complete opposite. They're very.
So the sanguine is the life of the party.
Yes, they are the life of the party. Absolutely. So they are extroverted by nature. We talked about the melancholy keeps a very small circle of friends.
Right.
The sanguine has 1 million friends, and they want more. So they're the type of person that has never met a stranger. They talk to everybody. It's just very easy for them to socialize.
People.
Yeah, he is one.
I wonder why.
So they are very relationship oriented. They prefer to deal with people. They actually experience anxiety if they are away from people for too long. So when a sanguine is forced to be alone for a long period of time, listening to the radio, turning the TV on, just having some other voices around is actually very comforting to them.
Sounds like fun.
So they live life at a very fast pace. They are go, go, go. They tend to keep their shoes right by the door, and at a moment's notice, you want to go do this, you want to go do that, they are always ready.
They're not planners.
Yes, they're very spontaneous. They fly by the seat of their pants, and they are always ready to go. So the melancholies look at home as their sanctuary. The sanguines look at home as jail, basically.
So they're always on the go.
Yes.
Life of the party.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are very active. They find inactivity very stressful.
I would think like a sales rep would be a great sanguine.
That would be perfect for them.
Always on the road, always meeting new people,
Yes.
always doing something different.
Absolutely.
All right.
A sanguine would go crazy if they were forced to be an accountant and had to sit in a little cubicle and just had to crunch numbers all day. They would die emotionally.
And once again, I mean, people are on the spectrum on these things,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Just because I've got a little sanguine in me doesn't mean that I won't stop and think things through.
Right, absolutely. So, like I said in the previous videos, that a lot of people are a blend of different temperaments. So, if you were a sanguine in inclusion, but you were a melancholy in control, you're going to have a little groundedness from being the melancholy in control.
Got it.
So these three areas really merge together and shape you. Our personalities are not so compartmentalized as they look on this piece of paper.
So what are some concerns that we would have with the sanguine?
The sanguine really lives in the moment, which can be a good thing, but sometimes they don't learn from previous mistakes.
Okay, that can be challenging.
So they forgive and forget very quickly, and they forget that other temperaments don't operate like that.
Right. Why can't you get over this?
Yeah. So I tell my clients that the sanguine is like a race car. They can pivot on a dime and they can run into something. They can get in an argument. They have issues with anger.
Okay.
They have a very hot temper, but then 5 minutes later, they can't remember what they were mad about. And so they're like this little race car, and they can just pivot and turn, and they can recover very quickly. But if you're dealing with a melancholy, like we were talking about yesterday, they are more like a big freight ship. When they turn, when they are trying to recover from anger, it's a very wide, slow arc. And a lot of times the sanguine and the melancholy end up in relation together because opposites attract. And so the sanguine has to be very careful at remembering that not everybody can handle the temper tantrums or their temper as well as they can.
Wow.
The sanguine also has a fear of rejection, but unlike the melancholy, where the melancholy will isolate themselves when faced with rejection, the sanguine actually goes out and sells themselves to other people. So if they get hurt by a relationship, they're just really like, that's okay. I make friends so easily. I'm just going to go out and replace this relationship.
In one of our earlier videos, we had talked about there are types of temperaments that come for counseling.
Yes.
Sanguine is not one of them.
No, they do. They will come into counseling, and it's
Okay.
usually usually they come in and say, I don't know why people are mad at me.
Okay.
It's usually in response to other people cutting off a relationship with them because they don't tend to always learn from their mistakes. They live in the moment. So yesterday is forgotten and tomorrow might never come. So it's really just what happened
All right.
today and what's happening in a few minutes is where they live. And
Right.
so sometimes they repeat their mistakes.
So let's say I'm a melancholy and I'm married to a sanguine. Does it help if I plan things out for them?
Yeah, they can handle planning. They just will get distracted. So it can be frustrating to, if let's say you have the melancholy sanguine dynamic, the melancholy will get very frustrated and think, you let me down, you didn't keep your word. And it's really, you change your mind.
Got it. Okay. How do we make this relationship work?
I think understanding each other's temperament, just knowing that one was designed for spontaneity and is very optimistic, and the other one is a little bit more grounded. If each of them learn how to be more flexible and come out of their comfort zone.
So that's sanguine in inclusion. We look forward to seeing you again as we talk about the sanguine in control in our next class.